Have you ever wondered why a single thought can change the direction of an entire day, and why one sentence spoken with conviction can quietly unlock doors that effort alone could not open, because the universe is not moved by force, but by alignment, and alignment begins with the words you allow to live in your mind. In the unseen laws that govern life, words are not sounds but commands, and every sentence you repeat becomes an order sent into the invisible realm that shapes outcomes, opportunities, and encounters. When Florence Scovel Shinn spoke of life as a game, she revealed that the rules are spiritual, precise, and always active, whether one believes in them or not. The moment you speak a sentence charged with faith, gratitude, and expectancy, you step into cooperation with a higher intelligence that already knows the path of least resistance to your good. Most people struggle because they argue with life using their words, declaring lack, delay, and disappointment, then wondering why these conditions persist. Yet the universe is obedient, neutral, and exact, responding without judgment to the tone of your inner conversation. There exists a simple sentence, seemingly ordinary, that carries extraordinary power when spoken with awareness, a sentence that dissolves resistance and invites order where chaos once stood. This sentence is not a wish nor a demand, but a recognition of an eternal truth, that your supply, your guidance, and your protection are already established in the unseen. When spoken consistently, it retrains the subconscious mind, which is the silent partner in all creation, accepting ideas without argument and reproducing them faithfully. Faith, in this teaching, is not blind belief, but active expectancy, a calm, knowing that what you declare is already moving toward fulfillment. The mind, once disciplined, becomes a magnet rather than a battlefield, attracting circumstances that mirror its dominant assumptions. At first, this may feel too simple for a world that glorifies struggle, yet spiritual law has never been impressed by complexity. The greatest transformations often arrive disguised as simplicity, because truth does not need decoration to be powerful. Imagine releasing the habit of anxious planning and replacing it with a sentence that affirms divine order working on your behalf. Such a declaration shifts your emotional state, and emotion is the signal that tells the universe what is real to you. When peace replaces tension, the outer world begins to reorganize accordingly. This is not imagination, but demonstration, repeated quietly by those who understand that the invisible precedes the visible. The sentence you speak today becomes the environment you live in tomorrow, because words impress images upon the mind, and images become experiences. To speak consciously is to choose deliberately, and to choose deliberately is to reclaim authorship over your life story. Each affirmation plants a seed, and seeds respond to consistency rather than intensity, growing silently beneath the surface before breaking into visible form. Doubt delays harvest, not as punishment, but as protection, allowing clarity to mature. As you practice this sentence, you may notice old patterns protesting, yet persistence rewires expectation. Soon, coincidences appear, timing improves, and help arrives naturally. These signs are confirmations, gentle nods from the law, encouraging steadiness. Speak without strain, trust without urgency, and let results unfold. The universe favors relaxed certainty, rewarding those who move with assurance instead of force. Remain attentive, grateful, and aligned, remembering that speech shapes destiny, and destiny responds swiftly when inner agreement replaces resistance, because harmony accelerates outcomes. Practice daily, observe results, and allow quiet confidence to become your natural state without forcing outcomes or fearing delay ever. As you continue along this path, something subtle yet profound begins to unfold, because the universe does not shift loudly but rearranges itself quietly, testing whether you truly believe what you have spoken or whether your words were merely sounds without conviction. Florence Scovel Shinn often emphasized that faith must be proved by calmness, and here is where many falter, for after declaring alignment, they watch the clock, scan circumstances, and unknowingly cancel their own decree with impatience. The law is exact, and it listens not only to your spoken sentence, but to the emotional echo that follows it. If fear trails your affirmation, the signal becomes mixed, and mixed signals slow manifestation. This is where suspense enters the journey, because between declaration and demonstration lies a space of apparent stillness, a pause that feels like nothing is happening, yet everything is happening beneath the surface. Roots grow in darkness before fruit appears in light, and the universe works the same way, building structures unseen before revealing results. During this phase, old conditions may appear louder, as if resisting displacement, and this is not failure, but confirmation that change is in motion. When a new assumption is introduced, the old one struggles to survive, creating a temporary illusion of delay or opposition. Many abandon their practice here, mistaking this stage for proof that the sentence does not work, when in truth it is working precisely. The universe often removes obstacles by dissolving them internally before externally, adjusting beliefs, habits, and expectations so that the outcome can be sustained without collapse. If results arrived before inner readiness, they would slip away just as quickly. This waiting period refines trust, inviting you to remain steady without evidence, to hold alignment without reassurance. Suspense sharpens awareness, teaching you to listen inwardly rather than react outwardly. As days pass, you may notice subtle shifts, conversations aligning differently, unexpected ideas arising, small opportunities presenting themselves without effort. These are signals, breadcrumbs guiding you forward, asking you to continue speaking your sentence with the same quiet certainty. The mind, once restless, begins to settle, realizing that it does not need to control every detail. Control dissolves into cooperation, and cooperation accelerates flow. At this point, many experience a temptation to add more words, to explain, to negotiate, believing that more effort equals faster results. Yet spiritual law responds best to simplicity, and adding strain only reintroduces resistance. The power lies not in repetition, driven by anxiety, but in consistency, rooted in assurance. When you speak your sentence and then release it, you demonstrate trust in the intelligence that governs outcomes. This trust creates a vacuum that must be filled, for nature abhors emptiness. What you release from the mind returns as order in experience. Suspense continues because the outcome remains unseen, yet inner peace grows, and peace is evidence of alignment. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that signs follow, they do not precede, and those who demand proof before belief reverse the law. Instead, belief produces proof effortlessly. As you hold steady, the universe rearranges people, places, and timing with precision beyond human planning. What once seemed impossible begins to feel inevitable. This inevitability is not dramatic, but calm, arriving without shock because your inner world has already accepted it as normal. You are no longer waiting, you are allowing. This distinction marks mastery. Remain anchored in your sentence, detached from method but faithful to outcome, knowing that the unseen is active, intelligent, and exact, responding to your alignment with unwavering obedience and perfect timing always. At this stage of understanding, a deeper realization dawns, one that separates casual listeners from those who truly apply the law, because you begin to see that the sentence you speak is not meant to change the universe, but to change you, and once you change, the universe has no choice but to follow. Florence Scovel Shinn revealed that man's word is his wand, and the wand works only when the hand holding it is steady, free from doubt and emotional excess. The third movement of this journey is where inner discipline replaces enthusiasm and devotion replaces excitement, because excitement fades, but discipline builds worlds. Here, you notice how carefully you choose your inner dialogue, understanding that silent thoughts are spoken words in seed form. The universe hears them all. The suspense deepens because life may now ask you to act in ways that feel unrelated to your desire, nudging you toward conversations, decisions, or endings that seem uncomfortable yet strangely peaceful. This is divine order, rearranging the stage, removing props that no longer fit the new script you have written with your words. Trust becomes essential because logic cannot always see the full pattern while it is being woven. You may feel guided to release attachments, habits, or expectations that once defined security, and this release can feel like loss if misunderstood. In truth, it is preparation, creating space for what cannot enter a crowded consciousness. The universe does not add until subtraction is complete. Many misunderstand this phase and resist it, attempting to hold on to the familiar while asking for the new, not realizing that divided loyalty confuses the law. Your sentence works best when your life aligns with it, when actions reflect trust rather than fear. This alignment does not require force, only honesty. As you continue speaking your chosen sentence, it begins to speak back through intuition, clarity, and calm impulses that feel natural rather than urgent. Guidance arrives as ease, not pressure. You find yourself doing the right thing at the right time without overthinking because the subconscious has accepted the idea of success, harmony, or provision as normal. When something becomes normal internally, it manifests externally without struggle. At this level, miracles lose their drama and become routine because expectation has shifted. You are no longer surprised by good, you anticipate it quietly. Suspense remains because outcomes still unfold beyond the visible horizon, yet fear has dissolved, replaced by certainty that whatever appears is part of the process. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that fear is faith in evil, and when fear leaves, faith stands unobstructed. The sentence you speak now carries authority, not because it is louder, but because it is backed by inner agreement. Words spoken without inner contradiction move swiftly. You notice how problems resolve themselves, how timing aligns, how help arrives before the need becomes urgent. These are not coincidences, but confirmations of alignment. The universe mirrors your assumptions faithfully, and now your assumptions are ordered, calm, and constructive. Even challenges that arise feel purposeful rather than threatening, serving as adjustments rather than obstacles. You respond instead of react, and this response maintains momentum. At this point, the sentence is no longer something you repeat, it has become a state of being. You live it. You breathe it. You expect from it. And because you expect, you receive. The law has no alternative. What is assumed with feeling must appear, and appearance follows assumption with mathematical certainty when resistance has been released fully and completely. Now the final unfolding occurs with a quiet power that feels almost ordinary, yet this ordinariness is the true miracle, because when the universe finally moves fully in your favor, it does so without noise, struggle, or announcement, as if it had always intended things to be this way. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that divine order is effortless, and when you reach this stage, you realize that effort was never the requirement, alignment was. The sentence you have been speaking has completed its inner work, dissolving doubt, reorganizing belief, and establishing a new mental atmosphere where good feels natural rather than surprising. Results now appear as logical outcomes of an invisible process you trusted before you could see it. Opportunities arrive through ordinary channels, conversations open doors, timing aligns so perfectly that coincidence feels inadequate as an explanation. You understand now that the universe was never withholding, only waiting for clarity. Suspense resolves not with fireworks, but with fulfillment, because the calm certainty you cultivated has prepared you to receive without shock or fear of loss. What arrives stays because it matches your inner state. You no longer cling, rush, or worry. knowing that what is divinely ordered cannot be taken away. At this level, gratitude becomes spontaneous, not as a technique, but as a natural response to harmony. Gratitude further multiplies results, because appreciation is agreement with abundance. You notice how your speech has changed permanently, how complaints feel uncomfortable, how fear-based language no longer fits your identity. This is mastery, when the sentence you once practiced has rewritten your inner narrative. Even when challenges appear, they are met with the same calm declaration, and they dissolve more quickly than before. You trust the law because you have seen it work repeatedly. Faith is no longer theoretical, it is experiential. The universe responds to you as a reliable partner, reflecting back stability, order, and support. You realize that the true gift was never a specific outcome, but the understanding that you are always supported when aligned. This understanding frees you from desperation, allowing desires to arise without attachment and manifest without resistance. Life becomes cooperative rather than combative. The sentence that began this journey continues to function as a compass, gently correcting course whenever old patterns attempt to return. You remain vigilant but relaxed, knowing that vigilance without tension preserves results. Florence Scovel. Shinn emphasized that man must train his mind to expect good, and now good feels inevitable. This inevitability is the reward of consistency. You did not rush the law, you respected its timing. You did not argue with appearances, you trusted the unseen. And because of this, the universe has reorganized itself in your favor, reflecting back the order you established within. Let this understanding remain with you, not as inspiration, but as practice, because spiritual law responds every time, without exception, to those who speak consciously and believe calmly. Carry this awareness forward, use your words wisely, and remember that every sentence is a seed, every thought a command, and every expectation a blueprint. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.